Welcome to the Business Spotlight podcast. My name is David Beeson. I am your host for today's conversation, and my guest today is Vanessa Newton, CEO and founder of Colors of Austin Counseling. We are going to be talking about her business journey to business ownership, challenges, best practices, and share a peek of what it's really like to build and operate a business. Vanessa, welcome to the show, and thank you for being here today. I would love for you to give us a little bit of background of who you are and tell us a little bit about your business as well.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here and share more. So, I own and operate a counseling practice, Colors of Austin Counseling, here in Austin, Texas. We are a hybrid therapy practice that serves the Central Texas community and all of Texas, really, providing virtual and in-person counseling services for clients kind of ages 3 and up.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, what does your current ownership structure look like? Are you the sole founder and owner? Do you have a partner or are there outside investors?
Yeah, so I am the sole founder. I founded my practice back in 2018. After being solo for 3 years, I just saw kind of the need in the community and was growing pretty fast on my own. And I decided that what would it be like if I were to expand this team and scale our services? And so in 2018, I scaled it and started hiring clinicians under me to work as therapists. And so I'm the solo owner, 100% owned by me and operated by me. I do have a small leadership team, but yeah, it's my business.
Yeah, that's awesome. When uh when you look at your role, how many hours do you spend working in your business and how many on the business?
Well, that's a tough question to answer because I feel like when you're a business owner, the work never ends, right? You're always in the trenches. I think when I'm in my business, I would say that is about 75% of my time, just I see a few clients a week, about 5 to 7 clients a week. And then the rest of the time, I'm supporting my leadership team. Um, whether it's coaching or consulting on the operations pieces of the practice and making sure that that's running really smoothly. And so I do have other businesses that I own as well alongside Colors of Boston Counseling. And so entrepreneurship is kind of what I do full time. I don't have another job or anything like that. But it is nice to be able to have other outlets of creativity while running this practice because while it does require me to be in it in terms of leading my management team, I'm not sitting in the chair with clients all day every day. So the way that I generate revenue and the way that I um, work is more in the community, public speaking, public facing. Um, so yeah, I like to have my hands in different things. I stay very busy.
Yeah, it's a sounds fun.
Yeah.
And here's a bit of a fun question. It's one of my favorite ones to ask. I'm curious, based on your experience, if I were to give you an extra 10 hours back each week, how would you invest those hours? Could be business, could be personal.
I would say personal because for me, I find that when I have space to think and space to reflect on my business, it's when I have the best ideas, you know? And so I think when I think about having time back for myself, I also have two small children, you know, and kind of supporting them. They're 5 and 2. And so they require a lot of me. But I also think that having space and time to work on your business and to think about your vision and how you're driving your business forward is when you have the best ideas. I had this coach tell me that, you know, what if you prioritize your self care so much that it meant that you would make more money? And I was like, what a concept, you know, to like prioritize yourself so that you can make more money. And that's ultimately my goal. Like that's where I want to be and how I want to live entrepreneurship out.
Awesome. Yeah, that's yeah, that's super cool. Yeah, me and my wife, we actually just found out that we're gonna be having our first kid coming up too. So
Oh,
we're
congratulations.
yeah, thank you. We're super excited.
Yeah.
Why'd you choose to go into business for yourself as opposed, for choosing to work for someone else? What was the transition like for you?
Yeah. So I spent pretty much, about 10 years working in organization. So I was a hospital social worker for about 6.5 years, and then I worked as a school social worker. And what I found overall is that there's so much red tape, there's so much politics and things that can get in the way of you living out your life's work. Right. And I loved the work that I did and I loved the people that I worked with, but I wanted to have more long term relationships with my clients. And I also wanted to have more say in how services were being delivered, impact that we could make, and ultimately scale. Because I think for me, this is not the end point, right? We are located in Austin and we serve Texas, but I have always considered what would it be like to go multi-city, multi-state, franchise maybe this practice. And so transitioning from working in a school setting or within a company, a large company, it was challenging, but I knew ultimately that if I wanted to do this on a larger scale, it was going to require a different type of setup. And I don't have a background in business. It's not something that I like knew going into it. I learned along the way. But I was willing to take the risk and I was passionate enough about what I knew I could do that I kind of left my school job full time after starting the business part time while I was working full time. So I was working part time on the business evenings and weekends. And then when I got to a place financially where I was like, okay, I can leave my full time job, I left. And it was the best decision I could have made, not just for myself, but as someone who also wanted to start a family of like what could that look like while working a 9 to 5. Um, it would be really hard, especially because I don't have family nearby, so I think that decision to go into entrepreneurship also was based upon my desire to have a family and be present with my family.
Yeah, that's really admirable. That's awesome. The I have yet to encounter a business owner who hasn't had peaks and valleys on the journey of building a business. How do you manage the difficult days?
Ooh, we've had many and they don't stop. Yeah, I mean, you don't know what you don't know. And I think early on, I got really in my head about what wasn't going well. And there were moments when I questioned whether or not I can do this. But I also always kept in mind, like, failure is not an option for me, right? If I made this decision to go all in, I need to give it everything I have. And I think asking for help along the way, finding really good coaches and mentors that are willing to support you and ask the right questions, having a community of other CEOs and entrepreneurs who know what it's like to be in this type of life and business is crucial because they're the ones who give me the hope. They're the ones who can plant those seeds of inspiration that keep me going. And I think that, being in business alone is one thing. I'm lucky enough that I have a team, right? And a team that is inspired by the company's mission. And that really drives me because I know it's for a larger purpose. And so on the hard days, I think I can tend to get so wrapped up and push, push, push and keep going. And, let's go faster, let's go harder. But I have to remember to slow down and take a pause and really reflect on what is going well, what's the challenge, and, what's within my reach. Because everything I believe can be figured out one way or the other. It may not always be what you want it to be, the outcome, but there is a way through. Um, and I've tested that and it's true. But we need people in our corner to kind of help us and remind us of that, even when we feel like, there is no way out. And I feel like the challenges can be anything from, you know, money running dry to, having high overturn in your company to, you know, things that are outside of your control, like systems and the world and even the weather, always just messing up things. But you it's really important to have a strong mindset and people that can help you shape that for yourself.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I'm always curious what successful businesses are doing. What percentage of your monthly sales typically is invested back into your marketing budget?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that about 15 to 20% goes back into marketing, which I think is pretty healthy. I coach a lot of therapists who want to become private practice owners themselves. And one of the things that I tell them is that you have to expect to pay for marketing, to invest in your company in order to get where you want to be, and I think, especially in mental health, which is the field that I'm in, they don't have a lot of those resources to spend, or they think it's wasteful, or they think that they can just do it on their own. And I think that it's important to have a budget for that marketing piece so that your business can keep growing and reach people that you would have never reached on your own organically. Um, so yeah, that's about our percentage.
Yeah. My wife's actually going back to school right now to get her
Hmm.
master's. So that way she can she can kind of go into opening either opening her own practice or going working for like a firm and stuff as like a
Oh,
therapist and
awesome.
things
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. So it's pretty cool to kind of get to talk to you and like learn
Yeah,
kind of how some of it works. I'm gonna kind of pass on some wisdom to her, probably show her this episode.
absolutely. Yeah.
Um, so how many different marketing strategies do y'all use? Because I know you said it was about 15 to 20% of the budget goes back in. So I'm just kind of curious
Yeah.
what some of y'all strategies are.
I think for us, so early on when I was solo and when I was starting my practice, a lot of it was, one-on-one contact or in-person speaking, giving workshops, just getting visibility around myself, my expertise, my skill set, having people hear me and see me. So I was taking people to coffee, I was building relationships, I was dropping off business cards at doctors' offices, I was doing parent workshops at local schools. I was really trying to attract my ideal client by getting myself out there. So it was a lot of in person me time. Over the years, I think we've built up a strong enough SEO on our website that we rank pretty high, and people often find us on Google, or they'll Google a phrase, and we are one of the ones that pops up. And so I would say we've invested a lot. We just went through a rebrand last year. We got a whole, brand logo, colors, website, and that's really generated a lot of traffic, new traffic. Um, and outside of that, I would say social media. So Instagram, Facebook, we've invested in some ads, some targeted ads around, specific offerings we have, whether it's a group or a workshop or a niche therapeutic modality that we're trying to sell, like EMDR. So if we're going to invest in ads, we want to make sure that we're targeting a specific offering, not just like a very general ad, because we find that when we're putting out ads on specific offerings, people respond to those better and we're likely to generate more traffic. So that's been really helpful. And the other piece is we do go out into the community a lot and kind of vendor at different events around town. So we'll set up a table, we'll hand out resources, materials, mental health tips and tricks. Usually our clinicians are there giving out their business cards. And that has been a great return on the investment. Yes, it's our time, but it's also a big difference in referrals when people see you and they can connect with you personally and say, oh, wow, I've been looking for a therapist. You could potentially be that person and you're standing right in front of me, So um, we have found that relationship building has been the most effective for us.
Yeah, no, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, especially with like what the business is, getting to know the person is super important. So it makes sense that a
Yeah.
lot of it is through, personal relationship building.
Yeah.
Um, I'm gonna kind of like switch it over to like team building. I know that you said that y'all have a couple of therapists and a couple of other people on staff. I just want to ask, how would you describe your leadership style in business? Has it changed over the years?
No, it's changed a lot. I think that I would identify myself as a direct leader, as a compassionate leader. Um, I'm very business minded. I'm always thinking about, what's the financial integrity of the business, and are we doing what we say we're supposed to do, right? In terms of living out our mission. I think early on, I really overcompensated for a lot of things. I didn't have any boundaries around my time. I was available at all hours of the day to my team, and yeah, compromise my boundaries a lot. I was afraid to hold people accountable. I was afraid to kind of give direct feedback for fear that people would leave or they would be upset at me. I was very timid and definitely wanted to please people that were working for me. And I think over the years, I realized that, people respect you more when you're honest and when you're transparent and when you can give them context, right? If I am holding you accountable to this is why this is important. This is why I'm giving you this feedback. How you show up affects the business in this way. You are a part of a larger team. It is not just about you. And so, I think that being direct and honest has really helped my team build trust with me over time. They trust me. They believe what I say. They believe my leadership because they know that I'm going to be honest with them, even if it's not what they want to hear. Um, I think the other piece that I've tried to incorporate is data, right? So we've invested in platforms that have been able to show clinicians data on how they're actually doing in numbers, which helps my case, right? It's not that I'm trying to be rude or, be tough on you, but this is what the data shows, and these are your areas of growth. So finding resources for me as a leader to kind of have those conversations with my team has been crucial. And I would say I'm a Gemini. I'm very extroverted. I like to be around people. I like to hang out with people. And that has suited me well in leadership, is being able to build relationships, being visible around the office, checking in on my folks to say, hey, how are you doing? What do you need? How can I support you? Those just small drops of support can be really helpful in building that relationship. And, I've over the last couple of years, because I went on maternity leave after I had my second child, and when I came back, I had a lot of people leave my team, which left us in a really hard place. And one of the first things I did when I came back was just spend a lot of time with them. I was around a lot. I was trying to rebuild my team, rebuild trust, um, and get people and build our team back up. And so I've done a lot of that work over the last couple of years, and I can tell a huge difference in terms of retention and people's performance.
Yeah, yeah. I kind of want to stop there and dive a little bit into that because I think this is a really big thing for the audience. Especially with a lot of like young business owners and things like that. How tough was it losing a lot of these members, and how was it like kind of rebuilding the team?
Yeah, I mean, it was tough, when people left, it hit us hard in terms of cash flow. We had to take out a loan, and then we got into some debt, and then, that starts to snowball of like, oh my God, then I need another loan. And it just was a whole mess, right? Because I didn't have the team to support the overhead we had. We had grown
Mm,
so big that I got two buildings of offices for us to work out of. And now we had half the team, and we weren't maximizing our office space, and we were bleeding cash and rent. And so it was really hard financially, and it put us in a really deep hole. And it was the first time that I had hired a coach to help me kind of get out of this mess. And starting to work with her over the course of a year, we got out of $75,000 of debt. I hired double the size of my team I had. I rebuilt my leadership team. I retrained people, rewrote processes and systems. We're now at the end of year 3 of kind of that rebuild, and I'm starting to see the light again. We went down to one office, and we just locked in a second office last month, and so that's been amazing.
Oh,
And
congrats.
yeah, thanks. So it's like we almost like I thought we were gonna have to shut down for a little bit there, right? But when we did almost, we got really small, and I think the rebuild was painful, but it taught me a lot about what I need from my team in terms of leadership and what I'm looking for in terms of people that I delegate to and who I trust with business and business information, and how involved do I need to be when it comes to the money side of things, when it comes to management? Where do my people need coaching on? What are the red flags, the yellow flags I need to watch out for so that I can not wait till everything crashes and burns? I can address it head on. Um, I learned a lot about money. I hired a cash flow coach who helped me with budgeting and set me up with, I use YNAB for business budgeting and how to read my numbers and how to make projections, and set up a KPI system to track, our practice KPIs, and just put a lot of systems in place and learned a whole lot as a business owner that I didn't have before. So I was making decisions pretty blindly. And I think now I have what I need to make smart business decisions that don't put us in a hole. So if I ever lost half my team, God forbid, but if I ever lost half my team again, that I would be okay.
Mm.
We would be okay. Um, and I will never go back to that place again. But it was pretty dark. It was pretty rough.
Yeah, well, I mean, I commend you for being able to, stay open and get to where you are now. And it sounds like y'all have bounced back really well. So congrats. That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. It was hard for a while there.
Yeah. Well, I think we'll transition to a couple rapid fire questions real quick if you're ready.
Okay.
All right. What is the key to success for you?
I would say relationships. Yeah,
Aw-
relationship building.
Awesome. What is one piece of advice for other business owners that you might have?
Mm, Ask for help. Don't wait. Reach out the minute you feel something's off,
Yeah, I couldn't agree more on that.
or even before.
um, what is a book or podcast you're reading or listening to right now?
Yeah, I'm getting my coaching certification. And so I'm currently reading The Coaching Habit. It's Say Less, Ask More, and Change the Way You Lead Forever.
Awesome. And this is kind of a fun question that I like to ask towards the end of the rapid fires. If you had a little bit of magic dust and you could choose one spot to sprinkle it in your business, where would it be and why?
Hmm. I would love to have a larger rainy day fund.
Mm,
Yeah, I would love to have a way to inject a little bit more cash into that reserve.
gotcha. Awesome. Well, before we get to the final question of the day, would you want to share with our audience how they can follow you, learn more, and contact you guys?
Yeah, many ways. So our website, you can always find us there, www.colorsofbostoncounseling.com. You can request an appointment. You can request any type of service. We run groups. All of our clinicians are there. To reach me, you can find me on Instagram at Brave and Well, which is my coaching consulting business for therapists and healers. And you can also find Colors of Boston on Instagram as well. It's at Colors Boston. And those are the best ways to find us.
Awesome. Well, we've come to the final question of the day, and that is what is most inspiring to you today?
That's a great question. I'm always in awe of my team. We just hired some new people recently, and we had a gathering this past Monday to kind of just connect with one another. And I'm always in awe of how amazing they are and how grateful I feel that they choose to work at Colors of Boston, and also proud of us for hiring them, right? And making good hiring decisions. And
Yeah.
I'm always like, okay, yeah, these were good hires. So, yeah, it's inspiring to me to see them together and to see what we can do together.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. This was a great conversation, and I really enjoyed hearing your story. So, thank you so much for sharing. Also, I just want to encourage all of you watching to save this show and come back to watch it again because Vanessa really had some great insight for business. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel so that you get notifications every time a new conversation drops, just like this one. Thank you to everyone who joined us, and a special thanks to you, Vanessa, for being with us today. We really appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everyone, and I will see you in the next episode.